Hello and welcome to episode 62 of KnitScents. My name is Jan and you can find me as Jan Ellen RN on Ravelry and on Instagram. You can also find me as KnitScents on Instagram. I try to keep those posts more toward just the KnitScents stuff and my other posts and whatever on my own account, on a private account. So yeah, those are the two places you can find me. We do have a forum on Ravelry, the KnitScents podcast group. So I hope you will come and join us over there. And we also have a Facebook page. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not very Facebook savvy. So if anyone has it, I know there's all kind of things you can do over there and whatnot and post. And I really should. I'm terrible. I know I'm bad. I should probably post over there more. I'm not on Facebook all that often. But if any of you are Facebook savvy and want to get the ball rolling over there, feel free to take over. Go for it. I'll join in. Maybe I'll learn how to work that. It took me long enough just to get this going. And oh my goodness, what a time I've had of it today. I wanted to record. Let me back up. I did go to Rhinebeck this past weekend. So I don't know what is today anyway. It is Wednesday, October 23rd. I went up. It has been quite the adventurous week, and I know I missed a week of recording, but I didn't want to miss another week. So despite having some virus or whatever it is, there was no way I was going to miss recording today. So I had a whole bunch of errands to do because I have been sick since I got back, and I just had to get them off my plate. And as soon as I go to record, power goes out. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is just so typical of my life. So I'm trying to run around figuring out alternatives and whatnot, and I lost the batteries to my camera, couldn't find those, couldn't find the charger. By the time I reconnoitered everything, the power comes back on. I've now started this podcast. This is the 5th time. Fortunately, never got past the intro because the dog kept barking. It's just been one of those days. So I just know this is going to be quite an effort to get through. But get through it we shall, because I am a week overdue. So like I said, this past weekend, I did get to go up to Rhinebeck. It was hit and miss there for a while. We had a little mishap the weekend before. Those of you who follow me on Instagram know that I nearly didn't make it. It wasn't me. It rarely ever is me. It's always somebody else. But everybody was fine, so I did get to go up. I did leave on Thursday with the intention of doing some sightseeing on Friday. We weren't able to get in, and I tried so hard to get Indie Untangled tickets. I was on the site the minute the tickets went on sale. We weren't able to get them. We weren't able to get them for Needles Up. But we figured, on Friday we'll just go sightseeing and do some local shopping. Maybe go take the trip to Woodbury Commons, which is literally halfway between where I live and where we were staying. Well, that all went to where in a handbasket, because Thursday night I was up half the night feeling like I was swallowing shards of glass. And I spent all of Friday in bed in the hotel room. How fun was that? Trying to shake whatever I knew was coming on. So I was pretty raw during the weekend, during Rhinebeck. Saturday was okay. I got through that. But Sunday it started to rain, and I was already kind of had enough. So we did end up leaving the venue early on Sunday, but it was fine. It was just as well. I didn't want to get any worse, any kind of sicker than I already was. The head in the wine booth kept me going, I think. I hit that up every now and then for medicinal purposes, but it did keep me going. But yeah, so all in all, we did have, all things considered, it was great. We always have a good time going there. you know, it couldn't be helped that I did get sick. I managed to do enough damage anyway. It's not that. It's just that I kind of missed, you know, it was like every time I saw anybody, you know, friends and stuff, it was like, don't come near me, you know, how to do the mwah, mwah thing, you know, like blowing kisses and all of that, because I didn't want to go near anybody. But it was good to see everybody, and that's really what I go for. And it was kind of hard because it really wasn't up to walking around much, so I didn't really get a chance to go up where the barns were. I only went up there to pick up my what I had pre-ordered merchandise instead of standing on the tent line. Otherwise, I didn't walk through the barns and stuff. So, you know, it's okay because, I mean, how much yarn do you need? It's not like I came home empty-handed. And I really just kind of enjoy seeing the sheep and you know, just seeing the smaller vendors. So that was kind of rough, but it was all right because, like I said, I was feeling kind of raw. But it was it was Saturday. The weather was perfect. It was perfect for sweater wearing. The trees were changing. It was in the low 60s. It could not have been more perfect. And on Sunday, the rain actually did hold off until, I want to say, mid-afternoon. It wasn't early afternoon because we didn't get there too early on Sunday because, like I said, I was feeling kind of rough. But it did start to rain. I'm going to see somewhere around 2 o'clock. It was like mid-afternoon, and by then I was like, I'm not going to tramp around in the rain. I went through the closed buildings and stuff, and then it really started to come down heavy, so I headed back to the hotel. So I want to say it was Rhinebeck. I mean, it was great. If you never have had the chance to go, I do hope that you try it at least once. I did get some footage, not as much as I had hoped. Saturday, like I said, I was just not feeling it, but I did get some. And Sunday, the weather kind of just wasn't cooperating with me. So I did get some. Alexis got some on her phone, so she's trying to figure how to get that onto, I don't know, something that you stick in the computer. I don't know, some way to get it on my computer. The upshot of it is that hopefully I will have some Rhinebeck footage at the end of this episode. And now that I have rambled on long enough, let's get into the nuts and bolts of this episode. I have some works in progress. I'm not sure. I think one of them I did show when I first started it, I think. One I just cast on with yarn that I did get up at Rhinebeck that I really want to talk about that yarn. And I have, that's it, 2 works that I'm actively working on. I have 2 finished objects. One you can see. The other one is my secret knitting. I am able to show that. And I do have, I didn't want to do like one of those whole things and all of this and that. These episodes tend to run long enough anyway. So I just have a couple of things that I got that I was really excited about and I wanted to show. And again, one of the things I did already cast on with, so I'll show that. I am not going to have a scent this week because I'm going to put the Rhinebeck footage at the end, and I don't want this episode to be 2 hours long. I mean, they're getting a little ridiculous. So why don't we jump in to what is on the needles? So the first thing, and this is, I took up 2 projects with me. I took up my vanilla socks, which I would have brought down to show you, but I made about that much progress. There's no point. You've seen them 100 times with that much progress on it. So I didn't bring that down. But I did bring this up, and this project has really, really kept me busy. I'm really enjoying working on it. It is, and I think I have it pulled up. If not, I'll pull it up. Yes, I do. It is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and it is called Heartstrings. And here's what it looks like. And I did get those same colors because I loved them. I didn't want to change it out. So I had ordered those colors. I don't remember honestly where I got them from. I want to say Tolt. I believe it was Tolt yarn, I think. I made a lot of progress on it. If I did show it, you'll see. Now, I took this when I had to make that trip to the ER. Not many people take stranded color work with them. I did because at that point I was in the round and had memorized the pattern, so it wasn't such a big deal. The only thing I didn't do was wind up a second skein of yarn. So I sat there. They all know we're crazy because we're in there all the time. Anyway, I actually had this skein around my knees and I tried to use a pen as a Nasta pen to try to make this a center pull ball. And then I'm sitting there as it's like getting bigger and I'm getting more frustrated and I'm like, why am I doing this? So I just wound it up and it's been fine. So here is my heartstrings. And let me tell you what I have been learning from doing this heartstrings. This, I'm going to show you, is the back. And up until this part, you work in the round. So let's show you right up close. It's got the split front. And then basically what it is 3 patterns. I just keep going backwards with this camera. I don't know what this is with me. Like, how is this inside out now? Good grief. Okay. Like I said, it's going to be one of those episodes. Okay. It's 3 patterns separated by this blue. Now, it took me about 4 attempts to realize that the blue was repeated in between each one. I clearly cannot read directions very well. I saw the charts and there is a section that says exactly how to follow the charts, but who needs that? So I'm going along, minding my business, and I get up to about here and I realize it's not looking like hers. So to make a long story short, I ripped back, no problem. And once these patterns were really, really simple, this is a 3-row pattern, this one is a 3-row pattern, but it's a very simple, it's just one color going straight up, and this is an alternating color pattern. So these are patterns that you absolutely can memorize. And the blue pattern is easily memorized. It's a 2-stitch pattern, 2-row pattern, and it basically just includes a purl stitch, which I don't know if I can get close enough, and please ignore the nails. I'm afraid to go and like blow my nose and start coughing in the poor lady's face. So I haven't gone. So I don't know if it's showing up. I'm trying to get it to focus with like my big face out of the way. Okay, but anyway. So that was all well and good, but then you have to split for the front and the back. All right, so you split. Well, that means you have to do color work on the wrong side. I've never done that before. So that was a bit of a learning curve. Now, the reason I did stranded color work with 1 yarn in either hand until I found this ring, and I believe I did show this in a previous podcast. In fact, I know I did. And I linked, because I'm not going to butcher the person's name, I cannot say it. Here, I'm going to take it off and just show it this way. And basically, you put it on your finger and it has room to hold up to 4 strands of yarn. And I did the entire body holding the yarn in my left hand like I always do, 1 in each slot. They were only holding 2 strands at a time at most. And it was super simple and super fast. But I couldn't do it once I got to the back and forth to stranding flat. Now I could if I put it on 1 row and took it off the other row, because there was no way I could purl with it on. It wasn't working. And I had never done stranded color work from the back before, so that the whole thing was a learning experience. But to me, it looks the same as it does where I did it in the round. So all is good, all is happy. I'm happy it's done. The front is done. So I am on the, am I getting this in the thing there? If you look right here, I am on the ribbing. Now, if you've done Andrea Mowry's patterns before, and I know on the Weekender, because we all know I did that one twice. Let's see. Okay. This ribbing right here becomes both the neck and the shoulders. So you do the ribbing across the entire front and the entire back. And then I believe on this one is the same as the Weekender. I'm almost sure. I don't want to speak out of turn. I haven't looked that far ahead in the pattern, but I think it's a 3-needle bind off up until the neck, and then the neck gets folded over, or you pick up stitches and make it a little higher and fold it over. I'm not exactly sure. But what we have here is I'm working on the neck and the shoulders of the front. Then I will pick up the stitches in the back, knit again, flat stranded color work, which I'm starting to get the knack of. I don't love it. I really don't like it, but it's doable. Let's put it that way. And I really, really, really have enjoyed it. And I think the fact that the patterns are so simple and really easy, and they're not a lot of rows. And in between each of the pattern rows is 3 plain knit and purl back rows, just 3 solid white rows. So that makes it a lot more tolerable, that the patterns are not complicated or difficult. So I can't speak to the fitting or anything to that end just yet. The yarn is really nice to work with. This is Biches and Bouches. I have absolutely no idea what that means. I could very easily have butchered the name. And this is their Le Petit Lambswool base. And this is off-white ecru. I believe I got turquoise, soft rose, and this one was called soft orange gray or something along those lines, but it's orange. Now again, on the monitor I'm looking at, it looks like some kind of bright red, but somehow or another, by the time I'm done editing the footage and stuff, the color does look correct. So trust me when I say this is a pumpkin color. That's the closest description I can give you, is this is a pumpkin color. So I was working on that, and I am really, really enjoying it. Looking forward to finishing it. The one thing I do want to say that I'm not too crazy about with the pattern. I love the body, and I do actually like the neck. And I know a lot of people have said that they don't care for that open neck. I'm actually fine with it because there's probably no way I'm going to wear this without something underneath it. Let me click on it and see if I can get a better picture of it. You can see it kind of just ends, and that's where I'm at now. I'm doing that shoulder part up here and down here. Gosh, hold this still. Oh my goodness. I'm touching this. This is moving. Okay. Well, anyway, the neck part right there is where I'm doing the shoulders. And then it'll go up to the neck right here, which is ribbed. What I don't like is the sleeves sort of look like almost an afterthought. Do you understand what you get what I'm saying? The whole body is color work. The neck, I get it. That's fine. It's rolled over, it's finished, it's neat looking. But the sleeves kind of look like, oh, I'll stick on sleeves and I'll just knit them down. It's not doing it for me. I'm not really feeling it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about the sleeves. My thought right now is to do a 3/4 sleeve. Pick up and knit to just under the elbow and maybe do a ribbing around the elbow. Oh gosh, I don't know why I'm like totally non-directional with this thing. Like having like no, right there, I'm not moving. Forget it. Here, right around here, just under the elbow. And then maybe doing the ribbing and even maybe if you add on the ribbing at the neck, which it seems to me you do, but I don't know, in a different color. Otherwise, I think I may just do a 3/4 sleeve, or I may just do like on this one, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing, is just picking up the said number of stitches and ribbing and then binding them off and wearing it like this, like the Soldotna, instead of putting a long sleeve on, because I don't know, to me the sleeves on this one look like an afterthought. You put so much into all the different color works, the little patterns, all those ends to weave in, and then you just have this plain sleeve kind of stuck on. I think it makes the sweater, I don't want to say it makes it look cheap, it makes it look knitting cheap. Does that make sense, that you put all this effort in and you kind of didn't want to do it on the sleeve, so you just sort of took the easy way out? So I think what I'm going to end up doing is finishing it off like the Soldotna was finished off, basically picking up and just ending it with ribbing and being done with it, because I'm not going to wear that without something underneath it anyway. And even if I do, because I have worn the Soldotna alone by itself anyhow, so all you need is the little bit of ribbing. The sleeve's going to come over to a decent length anyway. So that's the only thing I would recommend with that pattern. I'm sorry, but I am more parched and dry than usual. Okay, so that was project number 1. The other thing, and I didn't cast this on till I came home, but I couldn't wait because I really had to see what the yarn was going to do. So first I'm going to show you, I did get the very large tote from Matterroot. Now I know I've shown their bags before. I have one of the small ones and one of the medium-sized one. This is the larger tote, and I do love their bags because they work in a multitude of ways. First of all, any of the bags, the small, the medium, this large one, you fold it down and you basically now have a yarn bowl. Now in this case it's a very large yarn bowl, but you sit it down. Now the bottom is gusseted, so you could see it's not, you know, coming to a point. It sits nice and flat, and you can knit right out of the bag. The tote, this particular size, the large one, is lined with just all over pockets, both sides, all the way around, just various pockets to fit needles, notions, things like that. I don't want to go too much into it other than to say that I really love the clasp on the bag, because what you do is you just, well, either direction, you just roll down the bag like this, and then bring the clasps around and you hook them, and the bag is closed. The bag is closed, and the bag's closed. I'm totally fogged up. Okay, and you just carry it like that, or you can hook this onto something and carry it like that, and it's not heavy. I have to tell you, there are a lot, just going off on a side note, a lot of people carrying that Pleister backpack. Now, I did show, because I did get one, so I showed that on the last podcast, and the thought went through my mind to take it, and I said, you know, I'm not a big fan of backpacks at these events. I kind of prefer, what I generally do is I take the large tote from the previous year's festival. I leave my pocketbook and my bag and all that stuff in the room. I take whatever I need, my cash, my card, and then the bag's empty. So I just start tossing stuff in, and that's it. And I have it slung over my shoulder. I make sure it has a zipper on it, and that's my carry bag. It's not whacking into anybody. I mean, if you're my size, and it just so happens, and you would know if you're my size, when people carry backpacks, they will, if they're gonna hit you, they're gonna get you right in the face. Okay, I cannot tell you how many backpacks I have gotten hit with in the face. If I carry a backpack, it's gonna hit somebody, you know, in the arm, in the chest, in the back, something like that. Me, right here, I'm gonna get it. So I'm not too much of a fan of carrying the backpacks, but here's the point. When I came home, I was like, we couldn't believe how many of them we saw. They were all over the place. Absolutely everybody selling this. I'm like, you know, I really should use mine. I should put it to use. They are heavy. They are very heavy, and they are very heavy when they are empty. So think about that just as a note before you get it. Now, to be fair, they hold a ton. They will hold all your stuff, plus your knitting, plus anything else you can think of to throw in there. And it is a backpack, so the weight is in your back. It's not on your shoulder or whatnot, but they're heavy. They are not lightweight. So I was kind of glad that I made the decision not to take it with me. The whole point being, these Matterroot bags, they are not heavy, okay? You can stuff them and they're not going to be heavy. That's where I was going with that whole thing. All right, so now that I sidetracked and rambling on again, here we go. This is what I cast on. Now I want to start by showing you the yarn. Now, I ran into Susan from Desert Vista Dye Works. Hello, Susan. It was so good to see you at Rhinebeck. She has not come for a long time. I don't know actually if I know she's been to Rhinebeck before, but at any rate, she had told me about this yarn at Loop Fiber Studio. Now, I'm known of Loop, and in fact, I had spoken with her once on a previous podcast when she had started, and I don't know if she was selling yarn at the very beginning, but I know she was selling what she was known for was those self-striping bullseye bats, is what she called them. And I have so many of them. I have spun so many of them. Her color sense is amazing. And she's come out with yarn, and the yarns they're just amazing. These are called Yin and Yang, and they're harmonizing the yarn universe. I know she has it in a fingering base, and this one is in the worsted base, and they're almost like inversibles. I got these two colors for a second weekender because this weekend, I got to wear my weekender sweater that I did reknit, you know, the one up the river Denial. Yeah, I reknit it. People loved it. It fit great. I love the sweater. I actually got yarn to make 2 more. That is how much I love the sweater. So, but this yarn I had to show you guys because I think this is so unique. And you can do it all in one color. She had Nurtured, another Andrea Mowry pattern, done in, I believe it wasn't this color, but it was similar, just all in one color. And it was gorgeous. It marled, and the stitch pattern just, it was beautiful. So I was so drawn to this, and she actually had hanging up there samples of Nurtured, samples of Weekender, and a ton of different colors that had inversibles. These two are actually called Body and Soul, just so you know. So that is Loop. I will link her website below. Now I know that she still has at least Soul in stock because I was getting worried that I wouldn't have enough. So I did order an extra skein. She sent it out right away. Steph from Loop is just lovely. She's really sweet. I'm so glad to see her business growing. But what I cast on was another weekender. And the way I'm doing this one, and my point protector seems to have taken a hike somewhere, which means my stitches are all gonna fall. Oh, here we go. Okay. I'm doing the bottom ribbing in the darker, and then the body in this color. And that's how they knit up. It becomes this marled like effect. And I just thought it was just so unique, just very, very unique. Now the other thing is that you have to feel this. It's 100% merino, I'm pretty sure. 100% extra fine merino. Each skein is 220 yards, 100 grams, hand wash cold. This is butter soft, but the twist to it, it's just beautifully spun. I don't know how else to explain it other than to say, and you can tell by how it's knitting up. That's, I think, why this barber pulling or patterning or whatever it is that she does works up so well in this fiber and in knitting, because it is so perfectly spun. Now we all know, because she started out with fibers and spinning fibers and combing and putting fibers together, so I'm sure wherever she has this milled or wherever she's having this spun, she was very specific in how she wanted it dyed and how she dyed it and how she wanted it spun. But it's just an absolutely magnificent yarn. And I'm glad that I found her website. I'm almost sorry I didn't come home with a bag load to do nurtured, but we all know I already have nurtured on the needles and it's sitting, so I have to finish. I've been on a steamroll of ripping and finishing. So I didn't get more, but I know I can. She does have a website. I will link it below, because if you like the way this is knitting up, this is so worth it. I did not try the fingering. The fingering looks exactly the same. I believe it comes in the same colorway. So if you're thinking about a fingering sweater, or maybe you live in a warmer climate and you want to try it not in a worsted weight, she does have it in fingering. I would imagine it knits up exactly the same. This is definitely a yarn worth looking at. It is such a pleasure to knit with it. That's like comfort knitting. And the Weekender pattern is truly potato chip comfort knitting to its max. So this is the perfect combo. So that was just one of the things that I purchased, well, a couple of the things that I purchased while I was there. But I cannot wait to finish this and wear it, and neither can my daughter, who's nagging me every day, is my sweater finished? Is my sweater finished? Sweetie, it's not your sweater. Okay, actually that call came at a good time. It gave me a chance to get my coughing fit out of the way and not have to subject you all to the nose blowing and all of that fun stuff. So, and it ended up being the power company letting me know the power came back on. It came back on about 2 hours ago. So yeah, anyway, I do not have any spinning. I did start a new spinning project, but I made precious little progress on it, so I didn't bring it down. So let me move on to finished objects, one of which you've been looking at this entire time. And that is my Soldotna crop. So let's see, I'm gonna squeaky chair noise so you can see from the back. Now, I had figured when I did mine, back up on the chair I'm going to go. All right, I'm gonna stand on the chair. That it would come to the top of my jeans, which is exactly where it comes to. And these are kind of mid to low rise jeans. It just comes to the top of my jeans. Now, having said that, two things. First of all, I am extremely short-waisted, meaning that between my shoulder and my waist, you can see there isn't a whole hell of a lot of room. And my waist and my hip, there also isn't a whole hell of a lot of room. So I have a very, very short trunk. So when they say crop, I don't even know how, because I actually added one full repeat of the body repeat. So that, I think she said each repeat, a full repeat was 1 inch. The pattern called for 5 repeats. I did 6, and it's just hitting the top of my waistband. Now, with high-waisted jeans, obviously it comes, you know, it covers it a little bit. And I did wear it without a shirt underneath it with high-waisted jeans. I was fine with that. I was comfortable with it. But again, I don't have a body. I have no trunk, no nothing. That was the only modification I made, was adding that 1 repeat. And looking back at how much I was playing yarn chicken, and I was going to attempt either another half repeat or whatever, and I was like, well, you know, the chances are I'm going to be wearing something under it anyway. It's not a big deal. I could always make the ribbing a little bit longer if I wanted to. I ended up not doing either one of those, and I'm very, very happy with the sweater. It fits me. For the first time, I think I actually made a sweater that fits. So yeah, it worked out fine. I'm wearing it today under just a plain cotton long sleeve t-shirt from the Gap, which is my standard winter uniform. I wear them every day. I went and changed over before I left. I did like 25 tons of laundry, taking out all the winter stuff and putting all the summer stuff away, thinking, well, I don't think it's going to be hitting in the 80s again. Now watch, as soon as it comes out my mouth, we're going to have one of them freak days again. But so I went to get out all my long sleeve t-shirts from wherever I had stuffed them, and I couldn't believe how many I had amassed. It's like they've multiplied over the summer. I don't know. I couldn't find any all summer long. Well, because I had put them away. Hello. So yes, but I love them because any sweater, and I wore my weekender over one of these, and I wore my Umpqua sweater, which is also by I think that one is by Caitlin Hunter, and I wore that one over the weekend, also over a long sleeve sweater. So here's my other finished object. Finally, it is, and the pattern was released just before Rhinebeck. It is the Artichoke French hoodie. Now, a couple of years ago, Laura had released a pullover pattern called Artichoke French, and it was sort of, I don't want to say in honor of, but it was reminiscent of Rhinebeck and the Artichoke French vendor. And the pattern in it, you can see, almost has like that artichoke shape vibe. And I know I've shown bits and pieces of this, so you've seen this pattern, but that's called the Artichoke French stitch. Super easy to do, super easy to memorize. You don't have to carry a pattern around with you. This was not a difficult sweater to knit. I only ran into 2 problems. One, which I had discussed last time, was putting in the zipper. It was super easy. The only thing that someone had suggested that I might do different, and I actually have done it when I did buttonholes, and I did buttons before I knew better on my machine. Okay, let me get up close. Squeaky chair. Okay. You can see, and I know I showed this last time, what I did was I just sewed with a running stitch near the teeth, the zipper down to the sweater itself through the front. So it caught completely, so you can see it's totally sewn down there. So this first top stitching near the zipper teeth is hand sewn with a running stitch. Okay. And then you can see on the bottom what I did was I used a little short hemming stitch to stitch this end that was flapping down to the knitting. There's no puckering in the zipper. The zipper stayed nice and flat. I've had no trouble zipping it up and down. It's been working just great. What I did see someone do, and I don't know, I might consider doing it next time, is putting grosgrain ribbon underneath. Honestly, I don't know if it's worth even the time, because this does look neat to me on the inside, and it certainly looks neat enough on the outside. So, but that is an option, and I have done that to stabilize the knitting. I've hand sewn in grosgrain ribbon. What that does is it stabilizes your knitting so that then when you go to use a sewing machine, you're sewing the machine into the grosgrain ribbon as opposed to the knitting. So your knitting is stabilized because the knitting fabric has a lot of give. The sewing machine stitches don't have as much give. Hand sewing is different. You can keep the tension the way you want to keep it. You can sew looser, you can sew tighter. On a machine, yeah, you can set the tension, but it's pretty limited how you can set it. But once you sew in that grosgrain ribbon, you've stabilized that piece of knitting. Then you can run it off on a machine and you're fine. So to me, it's 6 to 1, half a dozen of the other. Okay, so here's the other problem I ran into. Now let's try to get this on. Now, when I saw Laura's on Saturday, because all of us who test knit it met up on Saturday. Everybody's was a little bit different. Some people did run into the same issue that I had. Laura's was like, literally came to like here. Okay, it was just below belt length. I, on the other hand, now I knew, you know, again, that's why I'm so surprised with this Soldotna, because being cropped on a normal human is one thing. Being ridiculously cropped on me, I don't know how anybody else could wear it. But this is so long. Laura's like, you made a coat. And it is. Now, having said that, to me, I'm thrilled that it's that length because that just makes it all the more wearable. This will get through quite chilly days. Get a lot of wear out of it. It has a hood, hence artichoke French hoodie. Let's try zipping it. I'll show you it's zipped up. What happened, we think, my gauge stayed the same stitch-wise because my measurements are all the same. Okay, that's the fit of it. It fits all fine. Let's turn around and show you the back. Hope you can see that because I've turned my back to the camera. Heard somewhere you're not supposed to do that. Anyway, just kidding. Lengthwise seems to have been a bit of an issue. It grew. My gauge grew a lot. And the reason I know that is because my sleeves are ridiculously long. Now, I measured them prior to blocking. They were spot on. I measured the length of the body prior to blocking. It was spot on. So, the sleeves, I actually am debating. I will likely attempt surgery on the sleeves. I will probably cut back to the break. Oops. Oh. Or at least one of the designs. And then what I'm going to end up doing, because the sleeve was actually knit in this direction. I have no choice. I'm going to have to knit it in that direction. That's fine. What I'm probably going to do is cut it a few inches above where I want it, rip it back or get it back to about maybe 4 inches below what I want. And I'm just going to rib without the pattern, because obviously the pattern would be going in the wrong way anyway, and just rib it, put in the thumb hole, and rivet the rest of the rivet. Yeah, well, rivet, you know, rivet. Rivet, not ribbit. Rip it, ribbit, rib. And I think this is a 4x2 ribbing. I don't exactly remember. Let's see. One, maybe it's a 3x2. A 3x2 ribbing. So that's probably what I'll just keep it to, is a 3x2 ribbing. But I will do some surgery on these sleeves to make it a little bit more wearable. The length, like I said, I could be happier that it is as long as it is, because that will just give me more use out of the sweater. But I can say it was a lot of work, and I knew when I blocked it, and I barely had the strength to take it out of the bucket. It was so, so heavy that something had gone awry. So this is knit out of Jill Draper Empire. Loved the yarn. It was a pleasure to work with. It is very, very soft for a breed specific yarn. I think this is either Targhee or Rambouillet. I don't have the skein in front of me, but it's extremely soft. It was great to work with. Would I knit this again? Absolutely. But what I would say, and what I will do the next time, is knit a swatch and do what Laura normally suggests when she suspects that the weight of the sweater is gonna pull down and change your gauge. Pin your swatch to like an ironing board. Let it hang over and put weights, clips. They sell little plastic clips. Weight down your swatch, and then you'll get a more accurate row gauge. I think if I had gone down a needle size in this, I think it would have been bulletproof. I think my issue with this is I had to do math on the measurements. I don't think changing the needle size on this would have done it. Maybe I could have gone down one size, but unless I make the measurement shorter, I think I'm going to still run into the same issue. Or at least maybe not this drastic, but drastic enough. So to make a long story that I've already made long, shorter, I loved the sweater. I will I will probably wear the sweater to death once I have adjusted the sleeves, and like I said, I think I'm gonna just take this in somewhere if I need some help with it, or get my friends to help me with it, or just bite the bullet, cut it myself, and suck it up, put my big girl panties on, and have at it and say I tried. And worst comes to worst, I'll just send Laura an email and show her and tell her to help me, please. I know she will. That's it, okay? So now I'm just going to show a few things. One that came in the mail while I was gone that I would really like to share with you. And then just a couple of things that I picked up. I don't know if you have heard about it, but I'm going to say it was a good year ago. I could be totally off on the timing, but it was months ago that somebody, and I believe her name is Lacey. Okay, and it's Moon Rover Games. She did a Kickstarter for something called the Knitting Game, and it's a card game. It's not anything like Cards Against Humanity. I never played that game, but it's that kind of boxed card game where you're playing with cards, that kind of thing. So anyway, she did a Kickstarter for it and had a goal, and apparently met that goal within a few hours. Went so over the goal. There was so much interest in this game that I think by the time the game evolved and she was able to go into production, I think it ended up including extra cards, things like that. Well, the upshot of it is that I did get it. I have not had a chance to open it yet, but here it is. It is Knitting the Card Game. And it says the yarn is real, the patterns are real, the knitting is implied. And, okay, so that's what the front of the box looks like. This is the back. Okay, and if you look down here, what it has is an FO blocking mat. And I think the goal of the game, and it says it here, object of the game, earn points with every finished object. Stash the right yarn for a pattern, cast on, knit, and finally place your FOs on your blocking mat. Try to collect secret points by trading stashed yarn cards for community cards. So I know that this somehow has a lot to do with, there are photographs, patterns taken from Ravelry. I've not played it yet. I've not even opened the box yet. So I will get back to you on how fun this game is or what our thoughts of this game are, but I was really excited to come home and see that that had come. Another thing that I did find at Rhinebeck that I was very excited about, I had knit a while back, and I think it's almost going back at least 2 years, because I knit them on one of our trips to Washington State. And they were socks on a plane. It's a pattern by SanniLehtinen, and I knit them with a skein of yarn that I had scored that was very difficult to get at a time. It was by White Birch. And I'm just gonna, because I don't want to get hit with the naughty strike, so I'm gonna put the color up there. All right, so YouTube will get mad at me. The colorway is Nothing Says Screw You Like a Rainbow. And I had knit my socks out of that, and one sock went missing, and I was so upset. So lo and behold, I went into one of the buildings, and there was White Birch, and I didn't even realize until I started seeing some of the samples, hey, I think that's the yarn that I used for those socks. And I was explaining to the woman what happened, and I thought there was unicorn in it, and she said, I'll bet it was the rainbow colorway. And I'm like, it did look like a rainbow. She said, that's my most popular colorway, and showed me the wall, showed me what it looked like self-striping. Well, to make a long story short, I did get a skein of it, so I can now replace, and I will now have 3 socks on a plane. Or I can just knit one and knit a pair of mitts out of it. That's an idea too. Thinking good, thinking good. Okay, so I did pre-order, and this was the logo. This was this year's logo, which I thought was, you know, if you know, from the 60s and 70s, you already know this is, you know, this van is very familiar. I just thought it was the greatest logo. So this was the tote bag, which I did pre-order. If you don't pre-order, at least the tote, you're going to be standing on a line, or you better make one of those mad dashes when the gates open, because these tend to sell out right away. And I don't care to do that. I can't deal with that running thing and then standing online for hours and whatnot, especially if you have the opportunity to pre-order it, and then, you know, whenever you feel like it, go over and pick it up. So that's another thing that I got, was this year's tote. So 2 other things that I brought down to show you. One, I actually was literally a spur of the moment, because I saw it and wasn't going to do this. I knew about the pattern because my friends were doing it, and I thought it was intriguing, but I was like, oh, do I want to do another shawl? And then when I saw it up close and I saw this yarn for it, I was like, yeah, I absolutely have to do that. This is called I Am Dragon 3. There is an I Am Dragon and an I Am Dragon 2. It's a pattern by Alexandra Davidoff, and those of you that might remember, I knit a cowl of hers that, oh, I was obsessed with, loved it. It was like a crown, a neck crown. I don't even think she called it a cowl. I think she called it a neck crown. Stunning. This is the pattern. This is what it looks like. It's not obviously a mystery knit along. Let me try to get those lights out of there. There we go. I'm trying to tilt it so that the ring light isn't showing. Basically, it's meant to look like the scales of a dragon. And this is beaded, and it's also done in a fade. And this calls for 3 skeins of yarn and beads. When I saw these 3 skeins, I was like, if this isn't perfect for this pattern, I don't know what is. Now again, it's a cowl. The pattern comes out, I believe, November 9th. Not in broken pieces. It's all going to come out at once. The pattern, I think, is $7 now. It'll be $8 if you purchase it once it's published, the cowl comes out. But if you purchase it now, there is a full page with what supplies you need, how many beads, how to pre-string your beads, all of that information. I got these 3 colors, and I think I have them a little bit out of order. I think I'm going to do it this way. I just thought these 3 colors together screamed dragon. I love them. So yeah, so I got these. These are from Primrose Yarn Company. They are the Adelaide base, which is 100% superwash merino. This one is called Emerald Midnight. This one is called Marry the Night. And this colorway is called Siren. So I purchased all 3 skeins for that knit along, which again, like I said, doesn't start until November. So that's going to give me time, hopefully, to finish the 2 sweaters I have on the needles. And right next door, well, it's actually a building over, was one of my favorite booths, which is called Bead Biz. And I went to find the perfect bead, and I couldn't. I couldn't find exactly the perfect bead. So originally, before I found out they were pre-strung, what I was going to do was take these 2. One is a silver-lined, a silver-lined Aurora Borealis bead. So you can see it's very shiny, nice. It's got blue-green in it, a little bit of like a goldy kind of greeny gold in there. And the other one that I got was a silver lined emerald color matte bead. But then I found out that each one of the skeins of yarn, you pre-string your beads onto them, which is perfect, because what I will do is 2 of them I will pre-string the shinier beads, and in the center I will use the matte beads, probably on the colorway that it will pop more. So I just thought that was going to make it a little bit different, a little bit more unique, and the tassels are beaded as well. So, and I know that I can, well, I hope that I can get more if I run short of beads, but I think we'll be all right with 2 of these. It did tell you how many, and one I think was cutting it close. So I know with the 2 packets of beads we'll be fine. So I did get that. And the other thing that I brought to show, only because it was just so different, was from Feederbrook Farm. And I have used their yarn before, but this one was totally unique. It doesn't even have a name. I actually ripped the tag off to see if it had a name of what this was. It doesn't. I looked on their website. They're supposed to be emailing me the pattern. This is, I think it's actually 2 separate skeins of yarn wrapped together. One looks like it's Blueface Leicester Locks, because that's what it says the fiber content is. But anyway, this looks like it's 2 skeins of yarn wound together. One is Locks and one is this their multicolor, beautiful pinky color. And they had this knit up into this absolutely adorable, textured, really, really pretty cowl. And I thought that was just different enough to make it, okay, that's worth getting. That's something a little bit different. I've never seen that before. I've never knit with locks spun yarn that are just like little curly locks. And what that just goes on the edge of the cowl. I wish I had it to show you, but I cannot find the pattern anywhere. It was not on their website. It wasn't any place. So yeah. So when I get it and I have a picture of it to show you, I will show you. That's all I have. That's it. Again, I will try to put some footage up at the end of some of the sights and sounds of Rhinebeck. That's it. I hope to see you very soon to record again next week. So until then, remember to knit with sense. Hi guys. So we made it to Rhinebeck. And I'm not going to be on camera too much, so I'm going to try to turn this around and show you the sights, because I have been sick now for 2 days. Almost didn't make it here, but we couldn't miss it. So we're going to show you a little bit of the flavor of Rhinebeck. we just got here, so I'm going to turn the camera around and show you some of the beautiful sights. The trees are turning their beautiful leaves and stuff, and I hope you enjoy.
Whenever two hearts like ours meet, I fell for you like a child. Yeah, but the fire, it was too wild. Oh, I fell into a burning ring of cloud. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher, and it burns, burns, burns. Ring of fire, ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, 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 and the flames went higher.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Midnight fire, engineer, engine with war. Midnight fire, engineer, when it feel like traveling on. A runaway team of horses leaning up to make me stay. Throw a rope around another man and pull down your way. Wanna try to find someone else and take the place of me. Turn him into the kind of fool you wanted me to be. Midnight fire, engineer, would you let your whistle blow? Midnight fire, say my dude, and it feel like traveling on. Take it on. Well, maybe I'll go to Santa Fe, next San Antonio, any town is where I'm bound as long as I roam.
How cute are these?
I don't even know that Chris is.
Oh wow.
Oh, they come with the coffee thing.
Look at these. These are so cute.
I mean, it goes right to your nose. It goes right to your nose.
I've never seen these here before. These are Corley Studios, so I actually do have these mugs at home, but I've never seen them in Rhinebeck.
They're trying too hard to
So that's really cool. Okay, only for you guys would I do this, because I absolutely am scared to death of monkeys. But here you go. This is another part of the zoo, mostly for the kids. And I normally would not get this close. But y'all know I love you guys, so yeah, there's another one back there. Oh my goodness. Oh God, there's a nice large size monkey over here. Just so you know, I'm doing this because I love you guys. Otherwise, I wouldn't be anywhere near here. Someday I'll tell you the story about why I have this like incredible fear of monkeys. But anyway, here's Monkey Cage, and I think I've had enough monkeys. Okay, and here we have some of the winners contest entries. Beautiful, beautiful work. Let's see if we can zoom in on some of these. Oops. There's a chain in the way here. You can only get so close. So there is a woven, beautiful houndstooth woven cloth. Let's see if we can get it on that. Is that gorgeous? That is absolutely beautiful. Exquisite. And then there's some hats and mitts and stuff. There's a felted, I don't know, is that a duck? I guess it's a duck. And some of this stuff is really gorgeous. These are all the ribbon winners from the festival. That's why it was gorgeous. Let's see if we can get it to focus. Beautiful.
Starting in July. Yeah. Starts the countdown.
Let's try to get around here. There you go. Look at all these mittens. Wow. A lot of color work this year. Beautiful lace. And now we're coming to the hand spun. So we'll take a look at the hand spun winners. And they have some gorgeous skeins here. Wow, let's see if I can zoom in.
That's why they do it.
Beautiful, beautifully spun skeins.
They can be different. Could be singles, could be twice.
These look like they're all literally spun. Most of them look like they're spun from processed fleece. These don't look like they're done, or most of them don't look like they were done from prepped fiber. These almost all look like they were done from processed fleece. Absolutely stunning. So this is all of the ribbon winners from this year. Beautiful, beautiful work.